ways to make 25K, where we talk to people about making that money, that cash, that guap, that skrilla. I invited a guest to talk about getting that paper and doing things. Now, for the sake of having a discussion while I wait for the guest to arrive, let's talk about getting money. Now, back in the days, I hustled. And what I mean by hustle, I'm talking about getting money on the streets. In that era of the 80s, a lot of the guys who had any significant type of money was in the street, in the drug game, what have you. Now, nowadays, money is a lot more plentiful, meaning not just your hustling, because you still got people that sell drugs, you got people that's rob, you got people that do scamming, there's other illegal activity ways of getting money, but money is more plentiful on the legal side of the fence. Now, it's not just a regular job, because money is more plentiful with jobs. You have people that are getting creative and they are creating multiple streams of income in order to be able to make ends meet, so to speak. So I want to highlight people who are thinking outside of the box, and even doing a regular. Like, for instance, let's say you have a 9 to 5 or a part-time job, but you also are doing Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, or what have you on the side. I want to talk to you. I want you to be able to explain and express your experiences, because I've done all those things I said. I did Uber, I did Lyft, I did DoorDash, I did Instacart. I've done driving for a medical company where I was driving nurse practitioners to visit clients. I've done a number of things, and I'd like to talk to people and highlight their experiences. Some of them will have like horror stories or funny stories about some of their experiences and how they got into it, what they learned from it. It's not just about, okay, well, I did Lyft and made average $1,000 a week, because I did that. I averaged over $1,000 a week. But what happened? Like, what are some of the stories? How did you do that? You know, there's a method to doing some of these things, and what I mean by that is, even when I did Uber was the first one I did, and they had a boost. I might be saying the term wrong, but there was a certain time where the money was bigger because it was like rush hour, or it was hot times like lunchtime. Even with DoorDash, they had those. I forgot the actual name of it. They all don't have the same name, so I might be saying boost, which may apply to one, but it doesn't apply to another. But it's basically the hot times when there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people requesting the service, so they pay more at these times. So depending on how you will structure it, you'll be like, okay, well, listen, I'm going to work only during those times because the pay is more. Now, on the flip side, if you're working during those times when the pay is more, guess what? Other people are working during those times too because the pay is more. So one of the things that I have done when I was doing Uber is, when I first was doing it, I was doing just that. I was working just on the hot side when the pay was more. And then as I progressed, I was like, no, hold on a second. I'm not going to just do that time because I want to make more money. It's like, I'm going to do earlier. Now they had different hot times, so there was different runs where you get the boost, you get the extra money. But what I noticed is, at least my own scenario, my own situation. Hold on, my own situation was um during some of them off peak. Oh, peak, because it was like the train. It was peak hours where you ended up with the boost. So it was peak hours was where there was a lot of traffic, and then you got the boost in pay during the peak. And what I found out was that during the off peak was times where I didn't have a lot of competition. So a lot of people did the peak and then they shut it down. So I found out when I was doing off peak, I was getting a nice amount of run because these other people were shutting their apps off. So I was making good money because I didn't have a lot of competition. When it was looking for something, boom, I'm there. Boom, I'm there. I'm getting it. So this is not about um, DoorDash or Uber Eats or Uber or Lyft, but it's about anything that you may do, or if you know someone that does it. Um, I'm not a big time a YouTuber or nothing, so I don't have a whole bunch of viewers watching, but I'm still going to bring more content because I like this. This is I'm not making no money off this. This is hold on. Let me see. Mm, I have to send a link to. I had to send a link to an email address because it wasn't working. So hopefully it'll work, and then I will get a guest, and then we can see what's going on. But good morning once again. Uh, I want to be able to provide content. Let me see. That's too much. I want to be able to provide content to you and entertain you and have fun. This is therapeutic for me. I do a whole lot of working and running around and running my businesses. And hold on. How are you there? I don't see you. Good morning. There you go. There you go. There you
Good
go.
morning. Technical difficulties.
That's all right. That's all right. You're here now.
Yes.
Um, Good morning. This is 25 Ways to Make 25K, where I speak to people about making that money, that guap, that skrilla, making things happen. So, without further ado, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Rachel Daley. I also go by Veronica, and I'm a teacher, a special educator, and I've been working with kids with special needs and learning challenges since 2009 in New York. But I'm originally from Virginia, so I grew up in Virginia, and I came up here to get my master's in education. But I'm also very, very, very passionate about music and art. Um, so that's like kind of me in a nutshell, I guess.
Okay, now I want to back up.
Okay.
You were born in Virginia, correct?
I was, yeah.
Tell me tell me about your upbringing. What the things down, and that's considered the South.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
I
I
don't you don't
mean,
have that You don't have that slang,
I
that
know I
Southern
don't. So
slang
like
twang.
I grew up in Northern Virginia, and Northern Virginia is like a very mixed up area. Lots of people who work for the government live there, and a lot of people come in and go out of the area frequently.
Oh,
So
because it's
to
close to
me, like
DC.
it's close to DC, yeah. So
Right.
for me, like Northern Virginia isn't like the South proper. Like I feel like once you get into Richmond and like go lower, like that's like really when Virginia starts to feel like the South. But
Okay.
my family is from those parts of Virginia. So I have family from Charlottesville, I have family from Virginia Beach, and then my grandparents grew up in like North Carolina, Georgia, stuff like that. So it's in there.
All
Just
right.
not necessarily my voice. If I've been drinking or something, it's a different story. But yeah.
So
Uh,
now that you got to tell me more.
More?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanna.
Ask me questions. If you ask me,
Oh,
I
all
will
right, all
answer.
right. Listen, check this out.
Okay.
When someone is looking at the video
Mm-hmm.
and it's over, I
Yeah.
want them to be able to tell me or tell someone else about you, not
Absolutely.
just that you
Yeah.
were born in Virginia.
Okay.
What was school like? What was family life like? I want you to
Right.
express. I want
I'm
to
going to.
know you.
Yes. So my parents, my dad was an art teacher. I come from a family of teachers. So my mom worked for Verizon back when they were still like CMP telephone, Bell Atlantic, all that stuff. So
Oh,
she
yeah.
retired from there. My grandparents were also teachers, both of them on my mom's side. And I grew up in a house in a suburban area with like we could be out in the street playing and like, when a car would come down the street, we'd be like, car, everyone would run into a yard. And then as soon as the car was gone, we'd be back in the street playing soccer or kickball, baseball. We were outside a lot, grew up outside, like in the dirt, like, and come from a family of gardeners and farmers as well. So my dad's side, they had a farm when my grandfather was coming up, and my grandfather on my mom's side, they were also farmers tobacco. And so like we used to do this thing like when we would visit grandparents, like the first hour of the visit or at some point during the visit, because my dad was the bigger gardener of my parents, there would be like a garden tour. So like if my grandmother was visiting from Charlottesville or my aunt was visiting from Maryland, or my dad was in Charlottesville, they would spend like an hour walking around the premises. Like it wasn't like a big estate or anything, but like walking around the yard, looking at all the plants, talking about the plants, how they're doing this season, what's new, what did you take out. And I used to trail around behind them, when they were doing that. And like growing up, especially in the spring and the summer, we'd be out there in the dirt with my dad. So he'd be like, come on, guys, like we're gonna go to the county dump. They had free mulch. So we would go, my brother and I, we would go and we would dig mulch and put it in this trash can. And we'd come back with like 3 trash cans of mulch, dump them out, be in the yard, dispersing the mulch everywhere, and then go back and get more until we were done. Like we were like my dad's little helpers. I also have a sister, she was helping too. So lots of playing outside, lots of nature. We had like fields, like you walk down the street and cut through a neighbor's yard, and that was the school field, and it's like the size of like a couple soccer fields, surrounded by trees, trees in the front yard, trees in the backyard. If you went the other direction down our street, there was a creek, and you could walk the creek the length of the neighborhood. And they had this humongous rope swing that kids put up that parents kept taking down. That my brother, he fell off of it once. So we were at home chilling one day, and then my parents got a call, and they're like, Josh fell off the rope swing and cracked his tooth on a rock, like this huge rock. Like he literally fell in the middle of the creek and broke his tooth, and they had to like do an emergency visit to the dentist. So like we
Wow.
were out there all the time. Yeah. So like nature is a big part of who I am. And I think it's strange for people from New York because there's not as many parks and there's not as much access. And like sometimes when I tell other people or my students about what it was like growing up in Virginia, like, "Oh, like, Miss, you had a really good childhood. Like we were out there, like imagination, like, oh, like we're actually in London. Like this is an estate, but it's like someone's backyard gazebo, and we're like making cakes out of dirt and like getting water from the tap, mixing up pies and putting berries from trees in there and talking about we're gonna go to the market and sell it." Like wild, like outdoor stuff. So that's a big part of who I am. And then the neighborhood I grew up in was middle class. And my parents picked our street for a reason. There were lots of different types of families on our street. So there was white kids, there was an Indian family across the street from us, my across the street neighbors, and my later best friend was a Korean girl adopted by white parents. There was a Latino family. down the street, and we used to all be in the street playing together. We'd go to each other's houses, we'd be in each other's backyards, like every day.
What
When the weather
town?
was
What town was this?
Fairfax. Yeah.
Fairfax. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um,
hmm And you
what?
said school.
Huh?
What was school like?
Yeah.
Yeah. So school, I went to a very small elementary school, and I work in the Catholic school system right now. And the schools that I work in are small. So my school was like that too. My elementary school was 2 classes per grade. I was one of 3 Black kids in my class, and every year it was the same kids. And then high school, well, middle school, you have all these elementary schools converging. So I was meeting new people, different types of people. And that was like the first time when I was like really, really confronted with like my Blackness, like how Black am I compared to how Black other people are, and how they express themselves and how they dress. Like I wasn't around kids like that in my neighborhood. And it's like, well, I'm one of those kids, but I'm different. And I felt like an outsider.
So
And it was,
how
mhm.
did you rate in your Blackness?
I mean, I was just starting to realize, like, okay, like these kids don't like me because I don't live in their neighborhood and I don't talk like them and I don't know how to talk like them, and I'm not gonna try. So I was just hanging out with my friends, but they thought of me as different, and we weren't friends. And I was with like a little nerdy clique of like smart girls that all looked different, but we all basically spoke and acted the same. Um, we had like there was a white girl in our group, an Asian girl, an Indian girl, and there was me. That was like my main crew coming up through middle school into high school.
So in essence, you experienced racism, but it was reversed. Your own
Oh,
race.
absolutely, yeah. The most racism I experienced as a young person was Black people against me. Like, you're not Black enough. Why do you talk like that? How come you don't know about this? I mean, it still happens, but I'm more comfortable in my Blackness, and so it bothers me like not at all or very much less.
So you were down there from what age to when you transitioned up?
From birth until I left Virginia in 2001. I don't want to tell you my age. I left Virginia to do
Well, you were
undergrad.
grown.
I went to Philly for undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So um, when you got into the dating years,
hmm
did that reverse racism? Did that
Oh,
affect your
yeah.
choosing of?
Yeah, like when I was in undergrad was like really the first time that Black guys started hitting on me, and I was like, oh, they like me. I was like, what? I was like, I thought Black guys didn't like me. And that was fine when I was in school. I think we had that equalizer of education. We're all here for the same reason. I wasn't getting it in undergrad, but when I left from undergrad and I was back in Virginia, I started having experiences where I would meet dudes, and like it seemed like the first part of the date was trying to figure out like who are you as a Black person, and then like let me decide whether that's good or bad. Like, and some people be like, it wasn't overt, it wasn't like I'm rating you as a Black person right now, and here's my questions. But at the end of that period of time when we were figuring that out, it was fine. It's like we are Black the same way, or like I understand your Blackness. With other dudes, it'd be like questions, why, and usually why means like this seems wrong to me, or I don't understand. And I would just know at a certain point, like, okay, these are the kind of dudes when they're asking these types of questions, we're never going to be able to sort that out because they don't understand me. And like, I feel like I'm capable of understanding a lot of people, but certain people are looking for certain things, and that's fine. Like they'll find their person, I'll find mine.
So in undergrad, what state were you in when you did undergrad?
I was in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, you did say you went to
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah,
How was
I was
it
in
there?
Philly.
That's
Philly was
black guys.
interesting.
Black guys liked you in Pennsylvania.
Well, the guys in my school. The guys in
Oh,
my
they was
school.
from somewhere else too, right?
Yeah, some of them were. Yeah, some of them were for
Yeah.
other
Okay.
places. But I think that when you are of certain educational levels, it equalizes things. So like we can be from very different places and be Black and be of the same educational level, and you still have your things that you want or that you see or you appreciate. But I think you have something bigger connecting you or something different connecting you, and kind of it helps kind of blend it all together in a way that works. I don't know. I don't know how to describe
No,
it.
I understand because you have things in common that
Right.
attract you to each other as
Right.
opposed to just skin color.
Yeah, just
So
like
I
I mean, I
I
never really thought of that maybe some people's primary thing that they're looking for when they go out looking for partners, that this one thing must be true, is that they must be black, like I feel like I want that now. I didn't necessarily want it before. Um, I didn't necessarily have to have it before. Like if I was connecting deeply with a person, like still the connection is more important to me than the skin color. But I'm finding lately that I feel more comfortable and I want more to be with someone with a dark complexion, or I want to be with someone who understands my culture, that I don't have to explain everything to them.
right, right,
Mhm.
right. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, so because you were raised by teachers,
Mhm.
um, you were pushed or you were able to
Encouraged. Yeah.
to transition into the teaching because that's what you know.
Yeah,
So
and teachers ask a lot of questions. So I feel like it's really like I understand this whole like profession is in your blood when you have a family that like every generation the family's doing the same career. It makes sense to me because if you're a teacher, you perceive the world a certain way, you interact with people a certain way. It's a lot of questioning, it's a lot of helping other people find things for themselves, I think. And you're just raised to think like a teacher. It's easy. Like it was easy for me to become a teacher. Not necessarily the job. The job is very challenging, and can be very difficult at times. But mentally, I think I was very well prepared to become a teacher.
so you were in the top tier of your classes coming up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That was easy. Like, got to go home. You got a teacher at home. Like,
Yeah,
got to get.
it's helpful. I mean, oddly enough, my dad was a teacher. He was an art teacher though, so he wasn't really the one helping us with the difficult subjects. But we always had that encouragement in the home, and we were all good kids. Like we didn't need to be bothered to do our homework or to study for a test. We wanted to do well. We wanted to excel, and like that was just natural. And our parents have told us since, like they felt so fortunate when we were coming up because they didn't have to chase after us for everything, and that we wanted to do well. I mean, that's a blessing when you're a parent with a kid in school because it takes more than just the teacher in the classroom for a kid to be successful. You need support at home and you need the child to be invested as well. So, but it was natural to us to want to do well in school.
Okay, now you also said you have an interest in music.
Yeah.
When did the music bug come in?
I mean, I think the music bug has always been there. Like, there's a recording of me when I was like 3 singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And my uncle on my mom's side is a DJ radio personality. He's been doing that for a long time. And then we used to sing in the house. My parents would put on music. We would sing. We would dance. I have so many memories of dancing in the kitchen with my mom. My mom would quiz me when we're listening to the radio. Who is this? Like, oh, it's Al Jarreau. It's Bill Withers. That kind of stuff. And I started playing the viola when I was in fourth grade. Um, and for
You
anyone who
still
doesn't
play it?
know, yeah, I can play the viola. And for anyone who doesn't know, viola is like a violin, except it has
Smaller.
one lower string and it doesn't have the high string.
Oh,
So,
I didn't
yeah,
know that. I just thought it was
yeah,
a difference in size.
it
Like,
is different in size. It's
right.
thicker, so it has like a mellower sound to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I played the viola fourth grade through 12th grade. I was in Dorchestra. And yeah, that's what they called it. It's like band was cool for some reason. Like y'all are just as nerdy as us, but like orchestra was Dorchestra because. But
So that was
yeah,
like the top tier of the nerds.
yes, it was. It really was. And then like my good friend, we lived across the street from each other. She played cello. We were both in orchestra, so we would sometimes like we would do homework together. We have homework parties. And we would do homework together and we would sometimes practice together, like so nerdy. Like we'd be at each other's houses with our instruments and like, okay, like we're gonna do work for 30 minutes and then we can have a conversation. And then we're gonna do work for another 30 minutes and then we can talk. Cause like you get together, girlfriends, like you just want to talk. I'm like, we're not getting anything done. But like we're like, let's get work done and have fun.
So did you used to sing to the viola?
No, I actually, I don't think I'm very good at that. It's not something I really got into. I wish I had, because I would be up here out in the street and on the subway performing and trying to make a little extra cash and stuff. I would do it. Like, I think about it every year. I'm like, you need to get out here and just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not judging anyone, but sometimes I hear people doing things. I'm like, I could do it as well as that.
You know
So
what? You should try it, and I'm not talking about to make a fast buck, just
yeah,
to see the
yeah,
response.
right, and
And
to
it
see
would
how
be
it
a
feels.
challenge. It would be
Yeah,
a challenge to because it's a performance.
right,
And
right.
if you're in New York now, right?
Yes.
So New York is some of the roughest, you know.
Crowds.
Yeah. So
Look,
if you can catch their pique their interest, then you really got something going on.
I mean, if my students in the schools that I've worked in since I've been in New York are any indicator, and I've been to a lot of shows, like I love consuming art. I went to Tony last night at Radio City. Um, but yeah, like the kids can be so harsh and like when they make fun of you or whatever, like even for me as a teacher, my first couple years of teaching, it took me a while to get used to that, like the language and sometimes the slang, like, I don't even know what that means, but I know you insulted me, you know? Um, yeah, like, that kind of stuff, like, it's terrifying, it's like, I sometimes wish I was more passionate about something that was easier, 'cause, like it's like, you know, if you're a photographer, like, you take your picture, you put it up there, you let people watch, look, whatever, and you don't have to feel like this huge connection to the product or the result, and, with singing, with music, it's so different, it's like, you know, you're gonna be on the stage, you know, and people are
Right.
gonna be you're so vulnerable, like, you might as well just be, like, naked, you know? Everyone else is there and they're literally there to judge you. Like, do I like this? Do I like you? You know, and it's like terrifying that. But then like my passion for it is so great that like I just have to find ways to work through those fears and those feelings because for me, not doing music is not an option, you know.
Have you ever thought about doing a performance for your students?
I have like impromptu stuff when I was at a high school. I was at a Catholic high school in the Bronx for 6 years. It was right on the border of It was right on the border of the Bronx and Queens. It's like Throgs Neck,
Wow.
near Throgs Neck area.
Okay.
Um, and like the kids told me, they said, you know, some of these areas are very rough, you know. And they would, you know, over the course of the school year, and especially if you have a kid for 4 years, you get to know them, you get to know their personality. They become like little brothers and like or like little nieces and nephews.
Right.
And I had a couple kids that they really like to tease me, and I tease them too. And like that's a way I grew up showing love in my family. Like we would make fun of each other, and that was one of the ways that you know, however messed up or not it is, that we show love. And so we did that. The three of us did that with each other, and so
So
they really.
you
Mhm.
you showed love by tearing down their self-esteem.
It's not tearing down their self-esteem. It's like you find that quirky thing about someone
Right.
and you tease them about it in a loving way that's also funny and it's a
Okay.
form of connection, you know? But, you know, getting to know each other, like, "Oh, miss, what are you into?" And, like, they would make fun of me. I love to dance as well, and so, like, I go out dancing with my friends all the time. I social dance, like, it's called Kizomba. It's a partner dance from Africa that's similar to tango, but to different types of music. I know how to bachata, you know, I'm terrible at salsa, but I'm going to eventually get better. But you know, you tell them things like this. And so I was like, I make music, I sing. And like, Miss, you don't sing. I don't believe you. Go ahead, sing a song for us. So I've done that in the past. And then it's like their reaction is like they're so shocked because I think it's really hard for children to perceive as their teachers as anything other than the person that they are when they're in that room with them. They don't think they have lives. They don't think they eat or sleep or have problems, you know, or passions. They think that all we do is think about teaching, you know?
Right.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. I'm not a teacher. I'm a mentor,
Mhm.
and
Well, that
but
makes you a
at,
teacher.
huh?
That makes you a teacher.
I know, but I specifically said mentor
Okay.
because when you hear the word teacher, you
Mhm.
think of classroom.
Okay,
When
yeah.
you hear of a mentor,
Yeah,
not only is a classroom, but there's one-on-one. There's there's different elements
absolutely.
to that. Now, when I was a child and I had teachers in school, I related to them similar as
Okay,
that.
okay.
Okay, listen, when you eat, sleep, think, teacher, when you go home, you're thinking about giving me detention tomorrow, or
Yeah, no.
so I understand where you're coming from with that. And but as a mentor, I understand the teaching element of it.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I'm also a public speaker,
Mm,
and when I get on the stage, I feel as if I'm doing a performance. It's
okay.
like there's a part of me
I feel
that
that.
that was left.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's a power, I feel. It's a
Mm,
nervous energy
yes.
because there's a possibility that they're not going to receive you.
Right.
I know that, but I don't believe that.
Okay.
So meaning that when I get up there, that's not an option. They're going to
They're
receive me.
going to,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I jumped off the stage, and when that's I just it's a performance for me, like
I
for
can see
real.
you doing that
Yeah,
with your hair.
I called the student on the stage and did push-ups with him and
Wow.
everything because
Yeah,
it's about connecting. And
absolutely.
if they look at it as us versus you,
Right.
then there's no connection.
Yeah, you have to find
Right.
a way. You have to find a way to connect with them, especially like these. I don't know what age group you are doing that particular speech to, but this particular generation of students that I'm working with right now in the K through 8, they need to feel like you love them. They need to feel like you really, really understand them, and they want you to show them respect before they show you respect. And that's very different from how I was raised, and I'm sure how you were raised as well. Like we were raised to go into the building, respecting our teachers, revering our teachers, and being responsible, being obedient. And with these kids, it's not a guarantee. That's what I see. Um, and uh, also the performance aspect, like similar to teaching, I honestly, more so than I feel like I'm a teacher, I feel like I'm an actress because you don't always vibe with every single student, but it's my responsibility to get the results. So whether the vibe is right or not, I still have to get this child to make progress. I have to get this child to care about what they're doing if they're not invested and if they think it's meaningless, which a lot of kids do when they think about like certain histories and math, algebra. Miss, do I really need to know how to do this? I was asked so many times. I had to get creative. I was like, you're actually learning how to do more things than just math when you solve a math problem. And that was the only way to make it relatable for them because they're like, they already know. They don't need to know how to do 7x plus 3y minus 18 equals 76 in their life later on. Like they don't
Right.
need that, but they do need other stuff. And, you know, you have to make it
Was,
interesting for
was
them.
that
You
a
have to make it.
real equation? Was that right?
I mean, yeah, you could do that equation. I don't know what the answer would be.
Oh.
You can absolutely solve that equation. Is there some nerdy math person out there and they want to solve that equation and then post a link? They are welcome to do that.
Okay, okay. Because I was like, oh, equals 76. Oh, okay.
I mean, I just made that up, but you could evaluate that expression. We
Okay,
use
all right, all right.
teacher language over here.
Okay, good. Now, as far as music is concerned, the
Mm.
first time you write?
I do. I like I work with a producer, and together we find sounds or samples that we like and we chop them up. Like he has one of those, I don't know what to call it. It's kind of like an NPC. It has like 64 buttons or something on it, and you can break up a beat into parts and you can sample like just 2 seconds of a beat. And we mess around with those combinations, mess around the piano with different sounds, synthetic sounds, and just keep messing around with things until we have something like a beat. And then I usually, from there, I'll start writing lyrics. And I feel blessed. I feel like lyrics come to me very quickly and easily. And then we mess around with melody, harmony, and in that process, create a song.
How,
Um,
how
mhm.
many seconds of a sample
Uh-huh.
does it have to exceed in order for you to have to pay for it?
Oh, I don't know because, well, first of all, the samples we're using, they're all on a website where you don't have to worry about that.
Oh,
So
they're public. They're
yeah,
free.
it's public to use. We use Splice, so like you're allowed to take those sounds and do what you want with them.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. Cool.
Yeah.
'Cause I learned. I don't remember the exact number of seconds. I was thinking that
Oh,
you would tell me,
oh, I
but
don't know.
it's
I should know.
it was like 5 or 6. I don't remember. But
Okay,
when you were saying he take two, I'm like, okay, he's making sure you don't have to
like
pay.
you're safe. You don't have to do all your songs over again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, back to the drawing board.
So your first time writing
Hmm.
your own, not
Mm.
itsy bitsy spider, twinkle twinkle little star. First
Mhm.
time you put something together.
Yeah,
How old were you?
pretty young. I used to write these trash songs when I was like 8 or so. I would record myself. I thought I sounded so good and like the lyrics were so dumb. Like I still remember the lyrics to some of the songs I wrote and I was like in my room jamming, you know. But like if I was on like a show like this right now and you had somehow gotten access to that and played it, I would be so embarrassed. But also I was a child, so it's like I'm
Right.
not going to judge my child self for being creative and having fun. But at the same time, like I would never take those lyrics now and use them in one of my songs, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Who your inspiration, like the singers,
Mm.
artists, what have you? What are your
Oh,
top three?
top three. Oh no. I was hoping I could just ramble
No,
and
no,
like
you can ramble. You can ramble.
okay.
You can ramble.
Like well, if we're talking about older stuff, I actually have a vision board and I have a bunch of artists on it. And I've got Ella Fitzgerald, I've got um oh I'm forgetting names now. Eartha Kitt, I've
You
got
go back.
yeah, who else? I've got Grace Jones up here.
Pull
Um
up to my bumper.
I went to a concert. I went to a Grace Jones concert with my dad this year. First time seeing Grace Jones, and I wasn't even that familiar with all of her music, but my dad loves Grace Jones, and like I bought him like a deluxe album set of all her albums like in the past for his birthday. So he came up to New York, and we went to Grace Jones at Hammerstein Ballroom, and it was so much fun. And she's so wild. She's like 72 on the stage, walking around in like 6-inch platform heels and a thong, smacking her ass, doing this thing like this humping dance and this thing that's like it's like 4 stories in the sky. She was on this thing like grinding and like all the outfit changes. She was doing her outfit changes off to the side on the stage while she was talking to us about the past. I was like, oh my, like she was incredible. She was incredible. I like she's definitely like she was already on my vision board, but now like she's like my idol. Like I'm like she's amazing.
Right, because
She
she
was
just
hula hooping. She was on a platform. She had these heels on, right? Hula hooping. She walked the stage, hula hooping as she was walking, walked
wow.
up 3 stairs, hula hooping, squatting and hula hooping. I was just like, this woman, like whatever she did, I need to do that so I can be like that when I'm 72. Yeah.
So who else? Who else?
Okay. Um, More contemporary. I love Sandy Gold. Um, Big Corinne Bailey Rae fan. Who else? Solange, Beyonce, Janelle Monáe, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. Who else? So many people I love. Like I love Doja Cat. Um, and then what else? I feel like I'm leaving some people out. I've been listening to a lot. I actually have been for the past 3 months. I don't know what's going on for me metaphysically or whatever, but like really, really jamming to MF Doom. I'm still very upset that he's not here. And like I can't get over the fact that he won't be making more music, you know. Um,
Right.
so I listen to a lot of like what people might call like underground hip hop. Big Roots fan. The Roots, D'Angelo, and like, you know, D'Angelo, like for me, like I hear his music and like I feel like I'm in Virginia, you know, like those
The
harmonies, it's like
beats, right?
very
Yeah.
the beats and the harmonies like very like especially like the Voodoo album. It's very like a soulful feeling that I feel like comes from the South. It's like born of like field hollers and field chants, people working out in the field, singing with each other. Like I feel and hear that when I listen to his music.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't say Grace Jones was the only touch into the '80s, and then you just
Oh,
went
oh no, Prince.
2000.
I just I just bought a Prince shirt the other day. I'm so excited to wear it. It's purple, like lavender print on Prince on the front with his, you know, birth year and the year that he passed. Um, Michael Jackson, love Michael Jackson. Prince, who else? I don't know. I feel like my musical taste is kind of out there. I've listened to a lot of jazz, Miles Davis, Coltrane, and I listen to like contemporary classical music. And I grew up listening to classical music, not because of my parents, just because I was in orchestra. And like, you know, you listen to classical music when you play a classical instrument, or at least I did.
So what
Um,
is what is your genre? What genre do you classify yourself in?
my music,
Yeah.
I tell people that it's experimental, because I like to use weird sounds, experimental, and then like a mixture of soul, R&B. I did some house sounding tracks recently, which I didn't think I was gonna do, but I really enjoyed that. And like almost like some of them are a little poppy, but like R&B, soul, pop, experimental, I guess.
Okay. Now, just to have a little more clarity on that, if I were to listen to one of your tracks, would I be dancing?
You could be
Would I
dancing.
be dancing fast? Would I
I
be
mean,
dancing
what
slow?
if
Like,
what if
give me
I don't think I ever dance fast, even when the music is going really fast. Like I'm not trying to sweat like that when I'm out, you know? Like, but you could dance. You could dance fast to some of my songs. Yeah. And I think that in this process of making the songs that I've done recently, we found that whenever a song didn't feel like it was quite there or was like dragging, it was because we needed to put something in the beat that had more movement. And once we did that, all of a sudden everything just kind of clicked.
okay.
Hmm.
So, do you have a sample for us?
Hmm. You know, I was trying to prepare for this and I was supposed to be getting a mix back. And I really wanted to play part of the mix, but I don't have it. So, and I don't want to
That
play
means we got to
just,
come back. That means it got to be another
yes,
part.
it's
Okay,
perfect.
okay,
I
okay.
I planned this. No, but yeah, I wanted to share that and but I'm not ready to share stuff that's not done yet because like we said before, it's like the whole like you putting it out there. I want it to be consumed. I need for people to listen to it. I didn't make it to listen to it by myself in my apartment, you know.
Right.
But I want it to be ready, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, do you do any collaborations?
Collaborations like with other artists.
Yes.
I haven't really gotten into that yet. I want to. I'm open to it. And I love collaborating. Like I don't know if you maybe you feel like this too, like when you're on stage and you're performing slash doing your motivational speaking, um, there's this moment when it feels like you are connected to everything that's in the room. Like it's not just your body on the stage saying things. It becomes I am doing and I'm perceiving what's happening and I'm also perceiving other people perceiving me. And I feel like it gets all like if you could see it visually, it'd be like all these lines intercrossing and intersecting and like I feel that energy when I'm working with other people. Even when I'm working with my students, I feel that collaborative energy of like two minds meeting and trying to understand um, me understanding them and them understanding what I'm trying to teach them, you know. And it creates a specific kind of energy that I feel like is like palpable, like you can feel it. Um,
Right.
and so I really love that aspect. It feels spiritual to me, you know.
I get it because when I speak, um, usually my first icebreaker
Hmm.
is when I get them to laugh
Okay. Yeah.
because that's my connection with them. Because
Hmm.
as I'm talking, some of them are going to actually cry
Okay.
when I'm speaking about my journey.
Mm.
So I need them to connect with me in laughter first
Okay. Yeah.
before you get to the ah.
Yeah.
Because if I give them that first,
Hmm.
it might not be no coming back. So I got
Right.
to get them to
Yeah.
laugh and then take them on that emotional roller coaster
Right.
before I
Okay.
bring them back to laughter.
Absolutely. And
You
it's an
understand what I'm saying?
energetic, yeah, absolutely. And it's an energetic exchange. Like they give you a little something, and from that energy they give to you, you take that and you turn it into something else, you know, um, with your feeling, with your tone of your voice, you know. So I definitely understand that.
So how long did it take you from I'm going to make music
Mm,
to being able to connect with a producer? Because a lot of people want to make music
hmm.
but they don't know what to do. Could you
Okay.
give some type of insight into that?
I don't think I can because I'm lucky. So my producer is someone I know through my family.
Oh,
And he happens to be extraordinarily good at what he does. So I never was wondering like who's my producer going to be, who am I going to work with? I always knew I wanted to work with him. And we're fortunate that you know we get along very well. So it's fun to be in the studio doing work together. And I guess my advice that I would give, I'm not going to say it's bad advice, but I guess I feel like everyone knows someone who knows someone. So I think that if you want to work with a producer but you don't have any connections, you have to get some stuff together to show them so they can hear where you're coming from and have an idea of whether working with you is a good fit. And then you need to put the feelers out. You need to ask people if they know someone and maybe that person knows someone. That's my best recommendation if you don't know anyone at all. Um, yeah.
One of my
I don't know.
childhood friends has a studio in Jersey, so
Okay.
if I could link y'all if you need a
Okay.
studio out there.
All right.
Um,
Thank you.
do you have any words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom.
Yeah,
What do all sorts of people watch your show?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
They get out of their cardboard boxes and they borrow a phone.
what are you trying to say? Um, no, I'm saying like age groups.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, I'm thinking about kids right now, but uh, one of the biggest things I would say as words of wisdom for a kid is like really really take yourself seriously when you're at school because education is an equalizer. Like if you are well educated, there's so many things, so many opportunities and pathways that will open up to you in your life, and you'll just have a good life. Like you need to be a good reader to have a good life as an adult, or at least you need to be a capable reader. And so if you for whatever reason don't feel invested in school, try to find whatever it is that will help you to take yourself seriously as a scholar so that you can set yourself up for success in the future as an adult. Like, I don't think kids are able to connect the dots sometimes. Like, they're young and they're living in the moment and they think they're going to live forever. But one day you're going to wake up and high school will be finished and you need a plan. You need a college education or you need a trade or some kind of plan for what is it that you're going to do to have a fantastic life. And it's important to think about that all the time, even when you're very young, like even if you don't know what you want to do as a career. And in the meantime, take yourself seriously as a scholar and get passionate about turning in all of your work on time and paying attention in school and learning, so that you can set yourself up for success in the future.
that answer with a little bit of tweaking
Hmm.
is applicable to adults as well.
Yeah, I guess so. How would you tweak it for adults?
Get serious about what you want to do
Okay. Okay.
because there are adults that have wasted
Mm,
years.
yeah.
Now, I have I know people that's been incarcerated,
Hmm.
and for some of them, that's their excuse.
Okay.
And it's an excuse, but it's not.
Right.
Meaning, the world didn't stop, learning didn't stop. I was incarcerated,
Okay.
and I read a lot of books, and
That's
not
incredible.
not just the Donald Goines and
Mm,
Be More Carefuls and all that. I read the Sidney Sheldons, the Dean Koontz,
mm,
I
yeah.
read law books. Like I read
Okay.
real books.
Yeah.
So it's like the education don't stop.
No, it doesn't
And
have to. Yeah.
I've spoken, like I've went to give speeches to people in the job centers. You know how people be on public assistance, they have to
Hmm.
go to these
Yeah.
things, and I'll come and I'll speak.
Yeah.
And I've been there.
Yeah.
I've sat in those seats.
Mm,
So it's easy for me to relate to it because
yeah.
I was there. I was once you.
Right. Right.
And you have to have your head set on abundance. You have to have your head set on success.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the biggest vocabulary or the smart. You don't have to be the smartest person
Right.
in the room.
You don't. You don't.
When you are motivated, that sheer motivation,
Hmm.
that sheer willpower can get you over the hump.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, and I am good for this.
Hmm.
I have said that I'm going to do something without no plan,
Okay.
just the sheer will to do it. And with the law of attraction,
Okay.
things start coming to you, and then the
Yes.
plan starts to unveil,
Right.
and the next thing you know, bam. But
Right.
I couldn't sit there and say, well, listen, I'm gonna do this. No, I just said I'm gonna get there.
Right. Right.
The vehicle will come.
The vehicle comes, the
Yeah,
how comes.
even if I'm hitchhiking, the vehicle is going to come.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely believe in that. And I think that relates back to what I was saying about kids. Like you might not know what you want to do in the future, but you do know that you want to be successful, and that's enough. That's enough. That desire for success, that desire to keep trying, the desire to the ability to think of yourself as someone who will be successful are all key ingredients in getting there eventually, later on when you're older. And then I think for back to your question, for adults, I would say love yourself and believe in yourself. And it's interesting. I feel like I've been seeing all these. I believe in synchronicity, and so I believe that when we see certain things or hear certain things, it's the perfect time for us to be seeing and hearing those things. It's meaningful us to that in that moment because it's something that's meant for us and something meant for me to know about myself or to think about or um, to have this idea that I can incorporate into my life more or begin to on some other journey or path because of these thoughts. And I've been seeing a lot of things that have to do with believing yourself and keeping trying. And I think that, like with the music, I sometimes think, look, I'm being audacious. Like, why do I think that I could be successful in this when so many people try to do it and they're not, Like, why would I be the one? But then you have to be audacious because if you don't have that level of audacity, you wouldn't do anything at all. You would
Right,
just say,
right,
well, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be the next Beyonce. So I'm not going to start. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to mess around with it. I'm not going to sample. I'm not going to experiment. I'm just going to focus on something else because people have already taken up all those spaces. But I don't believe in that. I don't believe that there's a limited number of spaces for things like that. I think that, like you said, the passion is similar to the motivation. If you have the passion, then the pathways open, the doors open, the portals open, the gateways open. And somehow, even if you don't have the exact recipe, uh, things start happening, manifesting in your life.
right.
Yeah.
Because what did Beyonce think she was going to be?
I don't know. I think
Right,
she
but
had
my
highly
point is,
motivated, right.
right.
But she also had highly motivated parents. Like her parents were definitely in there. And like, how do you get on Star Search? Like your parents are doing stuff for you. But I mean, it helps to have support. Support is amazing. But also, if you don't have that, or if you don't have as much of it as you need, your own personal belief is going to propel you.
That's right. That's right. Um, your faculty members, do they know what you do?
No, not at this school. I'm at a new school this year. I'm at a new school this year. And I'm very cautious when I get to know people because I'm kind of weird. So I'm like, I try to like do a survey, like general, like I try to get to know people slowly and I try to get a sense for their personality to see if like, is my personality gonna mesh with their personality? Is it worth it to like get deeper in here? Like, will they receive me once they see who I really am? And I'm not at that point yet at the school because I'm getting adjusted to my own schedule. I'm getting adjusted to my students. What I do is called special education teacher support services. So it's kind of like tutoring, but I have a special education master's degree. So I am a teacher. But what I do is similar to tutoring because I see what the children are having problems with in the classroom. And then I take that and I change things, I modify things, I figure out strategies to help them learn the things that are challenging for them. And it could be all the different subjects, but the focus is ELA, math, and writing. And I'm losing my train of thought. Oh yeah, you're talking about people getting to know me. So right now I'm very much in teacher mode. I'm not worried about people understanding my personality. I'm just trying to have harmonious relationships with my coworkers that are the teachers of the children that I work with. And I work with my students one-on-one. So I'm not in a classroom telling large groups of children what to do. I literally am going and picking up one student and working with them for an hour on their areas of needs and their goals. And so I haven't really gotten to the point where I've had conversations at this particular school to tell people more about myself. But in other organizations I've worked for, at other schools where I've been there longer, I have eventually, with some people that I became friendly with, told them that I was into music. One of my best friends is actually someone, she was my teacher's aide for 5 years, and she's seen me perform. And she is a model and an actress now. I've gone to like every time she has something and I'm here and I can go, I'm going to see her perform. I've seen her walk through the runway and all that kind of stuff. So she knows me very well. She knows what I'm interested in, but that took time, that kind of bond, that level
Right.
of like intimacy took time to form.
You have your own office?
My own office?
Yeah.
I mean, I have my own apartment.
No, I'm
You
talking
mean my own
about
office
at
at work?
school. At school, when you bring them.
I have my own classroom, yeah. It's really nice because it's just me in there, and I've done some singing in there because the acoustics are amazing. It's a wooden floor, old school, super high ceilings, and, like, I've been in there in the morning listening to music before the day starts, like, listening to how my voice sounds echoing the room, like, "Oh, that sounds good." I don't know if anyone heard me, but, clearly I don't really care.
So when you said, because you said you're weird, what do you mean by that?
Uh, I feel like I'm weird partially, if you talk about, whatever a stereotype is of a Black person, I don't know. I think it's different for different people what they think that is, but I don't think I am that. Uh, but then even with non-Black people, I think I'm out there. Like, there's out there, and then there's, like, I can put my finger so you can see there's out there, and then there's, like, out there, Like, I feel
Right.
like I'm over there because of the things that I believe in, uh, like, spiritually and metaphysically, because of my personality type, because of the things that I'm willing to say out loud. I think that makes me odd. And I also think, like, I'm not gonna, like, toot my own horn, but obviously I'm about to, like, I think I have a very expansive mind. I think that I'm capable of thinking about things from many, many different angles, which is partially a skill that I developed further by being a teacher and working with so many different types of kids. But I feel like it's easy for me to hear, like, the hidden meaning behind what someone is saying. What are people saying that they're not saying, right? And then what do they want you to know about themselves that they can't say yet, but that they're trying to communicate to you without saying it out loud? Like, I feel like I pick up on that easily. Um, and I believe in things like angels and stuff like that. I think that makes me a little out there. I'm very spiritual. I think some of my spiritual beliefs, which have, like, changed and developed as I've gotten older, are a bit out there as well. So,
There's a lot of people that think the way you think.
mm,
They just don't say it.
okay.
They just don't say it.
Well, y'all need to speak up so I don't feel so weird, okay?
Because I'm like, she's saying weird. I'm like, that's regular stuff. Like,
Well, then regular is order too, because
meaning that there's a lot of people who
mhm.
try to read between the lines.
Oh,
Because that's
sure,
basically
sure.
what you were saying.
Yes, but
So,
also on a level of, like clairvoyance or like mediumship, like,
right. And that's what I was going to say. I was going to say,
yeah.
you a medium? Like, oh, like,
I
whoa.
mean, I'm beginning to consider myself a medium, yes. I'm not out there, you know,
Right.
connecting
You-
people with their long lost grandmas and stuff, but, I might be getting there.
now that's extra.
Mm.
A lot of
That's
people don't
out
think that
there,
way.
or is that
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there?
yeah. That's if. Well, yeah, that is. But regular, how people try to analyze. There's people who try to be analytic that they're not smart enough to be analytic.
Mm,
Um,
facts.
but that's regular. That's
Yeah,
right. But
okay.
but the clairvoyance part, that's extra. And if if you have it, you have it.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't dull your senses for nobody.
right. Well,
And if it
I think you know this too, like, as a public speaker, there's this element of receptivity, so you're saying, like, you're gonna find a connection. You're gonna make sure that your people come away with the message that you're trying to deliver. And I
right,
think that sometimes with personalities and people, some people are shut off to things. And so I guess when I'm looking for people to connect to, I'm looking for people who are open to as much of me as possible? And I feel like when people have those mental walls, that is what makes it challenging. That is what causes me to feel like I'm weird. When I'm like, "Oh, this is a thing that I think about every day," but when I mention it to you, you close up and you don't wanna talk, like, okay, it's like that's when I'm like, "Okay, I'm weird?"
this is what I've noticed from a kid. I
Mm,
was an honor student in high school. I
okay,
was extra in middle school.
okay.
And what I noticed is the smarter you get,
Mm,
the larger a gap it becomes between you and the peers.
Okay. Okay.
So they start looking at you as being weird,
Mm.
and you start looking at them as being stupid because it's like you're not thinking the same way,
Right.
and it's like
It's
it
one of those
becomes
walls. Yeah.
who can I talk to
Yeah.
that'll understand me?
Oh, we would have been friends when we were little. Oh, you're like honor students? I was like, high five, me too.
Because
We would have been.
when I was in high school,
Mhm.
I was the cool nerd.
Okay. I
So
don't
I
think I was
come to
that cool.
school,
I wish I was the cool nerd, but I was kind of just the nerd, you know.
I had the double goose, the jewelry,
Okay.
and all that, and I'm coming and I'm sitting with my classmates, the
And
nerds.
answering the questions.
Yeah,
Excuse me, miss, I know
but
the answer.
in a lunchroom,
Mm,
I'm going. I don't know what class these idiots are in, but
yeah.
but
Not yours.
I come over there
Yeah.
and we
Chopping it
beating
up.
on the table,
Yep.
rhyming,
Okay.
and I'm putting together rhymes that have words that they don't even understand. What
They're like, John, that's not a word, okay? You don't like freestyling is not just you make up words. It's
you
you're
know?
supposed to use real words, right?
But
They're
I
like, I'm
got
not gonna
my I
ask because
got
if
my
I ask,
nerds
that means I don't know.
I got my nerds behind me like because they
Okay.
like yo we with
I
him.
love that. I wish we could go back in time right now and so I could witness that. So I want to be there in that cafeteria, smelling those fries and pizza, and listening to you chop it up. Yeah,
So that's all good.
that would be incredible.
I appreciate. You have any parting words, shout outs, what have you?
Ooh, shout out to my producer, DJ King Rico. He is out in LA right now on a scholarship for LAMP, LAA MP. I don't know what the letters stand for, LA something, but he had a scholarship and he is out there doing production work. And it's a huge opportunity for him. And I'm so excited for him. But also, I love working with him. So, like, I would not be where I am musically in terms of making beats, writing my own music if it wasn't for him. He's helped me so much. He's encouraged me. He's motivated me. He's hooked me up with inspirational things as well spiritually. Like we're in alignment that way, like with the spiritual aspects of ourselves. And it's a very blessed connection. So shout out to him and my parents, my family. Like I would not be who I am if it wasn't for them. And I actually have a picture of my grandfathers here. It's like they're with me at the interview. They both passed. The most recent one was a couple years ago. But I am
Sorry
so
to hear that.
blessed to have college educated parents, grandparents as a Black person, and like the foundations that they created for our family to be where we are now. I could not be where I am now if it wasn't for them. And shout out to my ancestors, known and unknown. I've gotten into ancestor worship recently, so I feel like they're always here with me. Like they're here on this interview, like around me, like they're waiting to applaud me after it's over, rooting us on, in our paths. And I feel like everyone's ancestors are doing that, whether they're aware of it or not. So shout out to ancestors.
Shout out to ancestors. I want to point something out to you
Hmm.
or and to whoever sees this that is different, but I'm giving you credit and your
Okay.
family credit.
All right.
Um, as Black people, a lot of us are not college educated,
Okay.
and a lot of our family are not college
Right.
educated. So, in order to be from uh, a family of teachers,
Yeah.
I don't know how it was 100 years ago
Right.
because I wasn't around. But my understanding of what I do know is in order to become a teacher, you have to have a master's degree.
Yeah.
So that means you have to be college educated with the equivalent of at least 6 years.
Mm.
And for you to have parents, grandparents, that means that you have college educated generations
Yes. Yes.
in your
I'm
family. And I think they're Black. Looking
They
at
are.
you,
They
they
are.
might have been Black.
They're Black. No, I'm incredibly blessed. Like I'm still at this point in my career. I've been teaching since 2009. I'm still at a point in my career where I'm meeting kids graduating from high school who are brown and Black, and they're the first person in their family to graduate, even just from high school. And it's or the first person to be going to a 4-year college. And so I know I've seen examples, like still at this point, like this is also why I really want young people to invest in themselves educationally, because we have to change that. We have to shift that dynamic so that people who are brown and black coming up in generations after this can say that their parents are college educated, can say that their grandparents are college educated, so that we can change that, because this is part of how people get wealth, you know?
Right. Because my parents weren't college educated.
Okay.
My sister is working towards her um JD.
Okay.
So she's going to be a lawyer.
That's great.
I have an associate's degree.
Mhm.
It's still a college. It's the smallest
Absolutely.
you can get.
Absolutely. But you did
Boom.
it.
My
Yeah.
wife has a bachelor's, so at
Mhm.
least my daughter can say her parents were both college educated.
Right.
Um, my streets education is surpasses doctorates, but
I'm
I
sure it
can't
does.
put that on
Yeah.
my resume.
I mean, but it's so important. It's part of how you move in the world, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I I appreciate you taking the time and the
Thank you so
energy
much for
to
having
spend
me.
time
This has
with
been so much fun.
me. Thank you. So you have a great day, all right? And we
You too.
will coordinate for a part two when you get everything together, and
Absolutely. I can't
and
wait.
we might do a sing along.
Okay. What
Uh,
what song are we gonna do? Let me start rehearsing now.
I don't know. How about this before we go? I
Okay.
want you to give me something.
Oh.
Who do you like?
I was looking at the time. I was like, it's almost been an hour. So I think that I got the free pass and I don't have to do this thing that I said I was willing to do before.
Okay. Who do you like? Like Anita Baker,
I
Patti
do love a bit of
LaBelle?
baking. I
You,
do
you,
love
you,
Patti LaBelle. Yeah. So we had talked about like if I would sing, if I was willing to sing
right.
before, and I said yes.
Yes, you
And
did.
and yeah, I'm willing to do it. I worked in a song. I don't have a voice teacher right now, but another shout out, Yolanda Wins, incredible singer and voice coach. I worked with her like 6 or 7 years ago, I think, and we worked on a song, and it's still one of my favorite songs to sing. But I was hoping that this was going to be on the computer because I was going to run it through my garage band so I could have some reverb on my mic, because then like, we really feel like we're in the cabaret, you know?
Well, no garage band.
No. Yeah, so Angel Eyes, like made popular by Ella Fitzgerald. And a lot of people have sung this song. It's an older song. And let me take a sip of water. All of a sudden my heart's like bum 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 bum.
Don't even worry about it. I got your back.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up lyrics real quick just in case. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
All right. And now, without further ado, Rachel, what is your stage name?
Oh, I my stage name is gonna be Ghost Royal Legacy.
Ooh, and without further ado, Coach Royal Legacy.
I try to think that love's not around, but it's uncomfortably near. My old heart ain't gaining no ground because my angel eyes ain't here. Angel eyes that old devil sent, they glow unbearably bright. Need I say that my love's misspent with angel eyes tonight? So drink up, all you people. Hold of anything you see. Have fun, you happy people. The laughs and the jokes are on me. Pardon me, but I've gotta run. The facts uncommonly clear. Gotta find who's now number one, and why my angel lights. Oh, where's my angel lights? Excuse me while I disappear.
Ah!
How was it? Was that okay?
That was good. That
Okay.
was good.
All right.
It's not like I have a Ella LP,
Right.
but from my memory of hearing stuff, you
Uh-huh.
sound pretty much like her. Like that was good. That was good. So, okay, we're gonna catch you on karaoke night.
Yes, I love karaoke. Let me know. I will be there. I will rearrange my plans. I will cancel something. I'm gonna show up. Yes,
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure and it's been fun.
absolutely. It's been
We
so
will
much
coordinate for the sequel.
fun. Okay.
All right. So enjoy
I'm
the
looking
rest of your
forward to
day.
it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.